We established the most radical idea in human history. The point of power is always in the present moment. It is right here, right now, where all creation is happening. But the crucial question remains, what exactly is the tool we use in that moment to take the abstract energy of consciousness and turn it into the concrete reality we experience? According to the Seth material, the answer is deceptively simple yet absolute. It is the core law that directs all conscious energy and turns pure potential into form. You get what you concentrate on. This is not just a philosophy to think about. This is the bedrock law of physics for consciousness itself, and it governs every single waking and sleeping moment of your life. Think of your consciousness as a massive, limitless ocean of creative energy, a universal battery that never runs dry. Your attention, your concentration, is the only focusing lens on that battery. It acts like a high-powered laser beam that takes that vast, formless power and directs it into a specific, tangible event or object. Every thought you entertain, every internal monologue you run, and every single moment of sustained attention you give to a subject is a command you are broadcasting out to the inner world. The source of creation, the universe, the inner self, it does not possess a moral compass that judges the content of your focus. It doesn't distinguish between a good thought and a bad thought. It doesn't care if you are focused on an outcome you desperately want or one that you frantically fear. It simply recognizes the intensity and, most importantly, the consistency of the energetic signal you are broadcasting. It is an utterly impersonal force. Whatever pattern you hold steadily in your focus, it will mobilize its power to bring that pattern into physical manifestation. This principle means your habitual thoughts are not passive mental chatter. They are the non-negotiable blueprints for your experience. Let's be honest about the implications. If you spend an entire week concentrating your mental resources on the fear of being fired, agonizing over every email and every glance from your boss, your creative energies are being perfectly mobilized to produce the circumstances of job loss. You are creating the perfect conditions for the outcome you are dreading. If you spend that same week concentrating on grateful appreciation for your work and visualizing a successful project, you are instructing your reality to provide evidence of that success. It's the same energy, producing two completely different worlds, determined solely by where you point the focus. This is why awareness is the very first and most necessary step of conscious creation. When you allow your focus to drift into replaying old arguments, generating new anxieties, or agonizing over what others think of you, you are concentrating your creative power on precisely those unwanted probabilities. That energy is not sitting idle. It is actively shaping a tomorrow you will not enjoy. Conversely, when you deliberately train your mental laser beam on a clear, emotionally resonant vision of your ideal potential, a healthy body, a rich relationship, a successful venture, you are magnetizing that reality toward you. We are all living in a constant, active magnetic field, but most of us are simply unconscious of what we are pulling in. But what about the things we fear most? We know we shouldn't focus on them, but how do you stop? How does this law of concentration work when we are battling lifelong negative habits or deep-seated fears that seem impossible to break? How do we turn off the signal of anxiety that has been running for years? That is what we will explore next, as we look at the difference between the focus of desire and the focus of fear. The answer lies in understanding the energetic hierarchy of creation. Concentration, as we've discussed, is the director of the creative force. But emotion is the fuel, the accelerator, and the true engine of manifestation. Think of your thoughts, your mental concentration, as the detailed blueprint for a magnificent building you wish to create. That blueprint, on its own, is just paper. It is a powerful design, but it is inert. It cannot stand up in the physical world by itself. Emotion, the feeling you attach to that blueprint, is the cement, the steel, the electricity, and the tireless construction crew that brings that design into solid, physical form. Seth is absolutely clear on this point. A thought that is held neutrally, without any accompanying charge of feeling, remains largely dormant. It exists in the realm of pure, unmanifested potential, but it lacks the necessary energy to bridge the gap between inner reality and outer manifestation. This explains a common frustration for many people. You can repeat affirmations or daydream about winning the lottery every single day for years, and yet nothing changes. But the crucial emotional charge, the genuine felt conviction, the excitement, the absolute certainty that it will happen, is missing. It is a blueprint with no construction crew. Conversely, a thought, regardless of its content, that is saturated with intense, consistent emotion, becomes a highly powerful, self-organizing creative engine. This is precisely why fear works so effectively to create bad luck and unwanted outcomes. Fear is one of the strongest, most immediate, and most primal emotional charges we possess. When you concentrate on the image of failure or the picture of an impending illness, and you attach the full, visceral, sinking dread of fear to it, you have effectively turned the power switch to max capacity. You have concentrated the thought and charged it with the highest voltage of emotion. This combination is what forces the unwanted reality to manifest with a consistent and often startling speed. This knowledge instantly gives us immense power and responsibility. If we are to be conscious creators, if we are to move beyond being the victims of our own unconscious fears, we must become diligent masters of our own emotional state. We can no longer treat our feelings as random, passive moods that simply wash over us throughout the day. They are our body's most direct energy signature, telling the universe exactly how much power to dedicate to the thought pattern we are concentrating on. When you concentrate on a desired outcome, say, the feeling of a healthy, vibrant body, or the success of your new channel, you must do more than just hold the image in your mind. You must actively and proactively cultivate the feeling of joy, gratitude, and confidence that comes with already possessing that outcome. The image is the target. The feeling is the rocket booster that gets your desire out of the inner world and into the physical one. Without the intense, joyful feeling attached, the target remains a distant dream, and your focus on it becomes a mere wish. The profound trick here is learning to use your emotions proactively rather than reactively. Most people live in a reactive state. They wait for the check to arrive to feel secure, or they wait for the relationship to improve to feel happy. According to the law of concentration, you must first generate the feeling internally, and your reality will then move heaven and earth to provide the corresponding external circumstances that match that feeling. The outer world is simply the echo of your inner emotional state. This requires a fundamental shift in your daily operating habit. It means training yourself to notice not just what you are thinking, but how you are feeling about it. Are you concentrating on your goals with excitement or with doubt? Are you concentrating on a current problem with intense, debilitating anxiety or with calm, determined focus? Your emotional answer is the true creative command you are sending out. So how do we practically apply this knowledge? How do we stop using our precious emotional energy to fuel our fears and start channeling it exclusively toward our desires? It requires a deliberate moment-to-moment practice, a constant self-monitored mental and emotional diet. We just concluded that emotion is the fuel. It is the power source that turns your concentrated thought into physical matter. But if that is true, then we have to completely change the way we live our lives. We cannot afford to wait for external events to make us feel good. The true creative command is to generate the feeling first, and then let reality follow. This is the principle of proactive feeling, and it is a radical departure from the way most of the world operates. Most people are living their lives backwards. They are saying, I will feel joyful when I get the promotion, or I will feel secure when the bills are paid. Seth says that this is like trying to drive a car by looking only at the rear-view mirror. You are waiting for the echo of creation to appear before you will allow yourself to activate the very fuel required to drive forward. The conscious creator must be prepared to feel the desired emotion now. This is not self-delusion. It is the direct and honest application of the law that you get what you concentrate on, fueled by emotion. If the feeling of security is what you want, you must concentrate on generating security in this moment. Even if the external world seems to be offering you insecurity, if the feeling of vibrant health is the goal, you must concentrate on the feeling of vitality and well-being, rather than concentrating on the pain. How do you practically do this? You use the most powerful tool you possess, your imagination. Your inner reality is the workshop of creation, and your consciousness cannot easily distinguish between a vividly imagined, emotionally charged experience and an actual physical event. To your creative engine, a feeling is a feeling. So when you are concentrating on your desires, you must fully embody the emotional state of already having them. Don't just think about winning. Feel the relief of having already won. Don't just wish for a loving relationship. Feel the warmth, the safety, and the connection of that person sitting next to you right now. You are giving your creative engine the exact emotional template, the specific fuel, signature, that it needs to attract the corresponding circumstances into your physical life. This is the difference between hoping for a reality and commanding it. The opposite is equally true and far more dangerous. If you are constantly allowing your emotional state to be dictated by the daily news, by the negativity of others, or by the memory of past traumas, you are essentially volunteering your creative power to fuel their unwanted outcomes. You are taking your precious creative fuel and pouring it into the blueprints of fear that someone else, or a past version of yourself, has drawn up. This is why mastery of your emotional state is the highest spiritual discipline. It is the moment-to-moment work of checking in and asking, is the emotion I am feeling right now the fuel for the future I want to create? If the answer is no, you are creating backward. If the answer is yes, you are a master co-creator. This leads us directly to the practical application. Generating emotion is powerful, but how do we keep that signal steady and clean all day, every day? How do we commit to the daily mental discipline that ensures our creative focus stays pointed at desire and not fear? This requires a very specific, proactive commitment to a new way of living, the mental diet. We will examine the 3 phases of this powerful diet next. The power is clear, but the question remains, how do we apply it? How do we take the knowledge that concentration fueled by emotion creates reality and turn that into a reliable, consistent, day-to-day practice? It requires committing to a rigorous, honest, and proactive mental diet. This is the cornerstone of becoming a conscious creator. A mental diet, according to Seth, is not simply about trying to suppress a negative thought after it occurs. That usually backfires, giving the thought more energy. Instead, it is about actively monitoring the quality and consistency of your internal broadcast before it ever has a chance to gain emotional momentum. Think of your mind as a garden. It will always grow something. If you do not deliberately plant the flowers of your desired focus, the weeds of your fears and doubts will quickly take over and attract the corresponding reality. The diet starts with 3 critical phases of self-monitoring. First is the morning check-in, the state you wake up in. The first thoughts and emotions that flood your consciousness sets the creative tone for your entire day. Are you immediately concentrating on the stress of your to-do list, the pain in your body, or the frustration left over from yesterday? This happens to everyone. But Seth advises that you must proactively choose your opening concentration. Before your feet even hit the floor, focus your mind with deliberate concentration on 3 things you feel genuinely grateful for, or 5 things that you truly desire to happen that day. This is a crucial, deliberate act of pointing your magnetic needle toward desired experience, setting a high, positive trajectory for your day's creation. Second is the emotional inventory, which is the continuous, moment-to-moment work. You must learn to treat your strong emotions as immediate, tangible feedback, a literal energy meter. If you feel joy, excitement, or peace, your concentration is working perfectly and you are fueling a fantastic future. If you feel anxiety, worry, or resentment, your concentration has drifted to an unwanted, fear-based pattern. Do not judge the feeling, but recognize it instantly as a signal that your creative power is misdirected. Stop what you're doing, acknowledge that your energy is creating a problem, and immediately pivot your focus to something, anything, that brings a moment of genuine relief or appreciation. Remember the primary rule: you don't fight the fear. You simply change the channel of your concentration. Third is the evening review and reset. The time right before sleep is arguably your most powerful creative state. As your conscious mind loosens its grip and your unconscious mind begins actively building the framework for your next day. Therefore, it is a creative imperative that you do not go to sleep concentrating on the news, an unresolved argument, or a fear about tomorrow. Review your day, but deliberately focus only on the successes, the moments of joy, and the things you feel genuinely good about. Consciously dismiss any negative moments by stating, "That is done, and I choose to create differently now." This sends a final, powerful, consistent, positive command into the creative unconscious, ensuring your inner reality builds the best possible probabilities for the immediate future while you rest. This daily mental discipline is the only path to mastery in the physical world. It requires work and consistency, but it quickly becomes easier as the universe begins to respond to your cleaner, more consistent energetic signals. However, there is one powerful silent force that often works against this diet, a hidden layer of creation that can override even your most sincere daily efforts. This force is the deepest level of unconscious belief, the silent foundation upon which your entire concentrated reality is built. We've explored how a daily mental diet keeps our conscious focus sharp, but we have to address a deeper challenge: the unconscious mind. This is where the work becomes truly transformative, because we are all constantly concentrating, even when we don't realize it. In fact, our most potent, life-shaping concentration is happening right now, running in the background, governed by our deepest, most stubborn limiting beliefs. A limiting belief is simply a highly repetitive, emotionally charged thought that has achieved such consistency, it acts as an invisible, permanent focusing lens. It is concentration that has become so automatic, so second nature, that you don't even have to think the thought for it to transmit its signal. The moment you start a new project, the unconscious concentration, "I always fail at this," activates, and your reality immediately begins shaping evidence to support that verdict. The moment you try to connect with someone, the underlying concentration, "I am unlovable," begins to push people away before you've even spoken a word. These beliefs are often the result of unconscious focus on past traumas or perceived failures. The event is over, but the emotional concentration on the meaning of that event is still running on a continuous loop. We are essentially concentrating with our emotional history. When we say, "I get what I concentrate on," this includes the concentration of shame, the concentration of unworthiness, or the concentration of scarcity that we inherited from childhood. You can spend 10 minutes every morning visualizing abundance, but if you spend the other 15 waking hours concentrating on your inability to pay your bills or the lack of job opportunities, your unconscious concentration is simply more powerful and more persistent. The universe is responding to the total sum of the signal, and when the background noise of doubt is louder than the intentional signal of desire, doubt always wins. So how do we shift the unconscious focus? We cannot simply think our way out of these concentrated emotional programs. The true work is not about forcing positive thoughts. It is about withdrawing your emotional concentration from the negative ones. Think of a limiting belief as a plug drawing power from the universal battery. The goal is to simply unplug it. This is achieved not through struggle, but through gentle, non-judgmental observation. The moment you catch yourself focusing on a lack, a worry, or an old story, you don't fight it. You simply recognize it and say to yourself, I'm concentrating my creative energy on an unwanted probability right now. I will not use my power for this. That simple act of recognition is the first step of consciously taking your focus back. You are acknowledging the old signal, but you are refusing to feed it any more of your precious emotional energy. It is a process of consciously choosing where to place your attention, moment by moment. It means being more dedicated to the feeling of where you want to go than the fact of where you currently are. It is the steady, daily, conscious choice to stop concentrating on what you fear and start concentrating on the inherent, creative power of your inner self. In our final part, we will discuss how to make this conscious pivot a permanent habit and establish a powerful, lasting call to action for your new reality. We've broken down this profound law: you get what you concentrate on. We've seen that your reality is simply the consistent manifestation of your focus, whether that focus is conscious desire or unconscious fear. The journey from here isn't about perfection, it's about the conscious pivot. The pivot is the single most important action you can take. It is the moment you catch yourself in the act of concentrating on an unwanted probability, a worry about money, a fear of illness, or a feeling of unworthiness, and you deliberately, gently, and instantly choose to shift your attention. It is like turning a radio dial away from static and toward a clear, beautiful song. You don't fight the static, you don't judge the static, you simply change the frequency. This is a daily practice. It means that every time you see a symptom of lack in your physical reality, whether it's an empty bank account, a difficult interaction, or a pain in your body, you must recognize it as an echo of past concentration, not a sentence for your future. The moment you acknowledge the echo, you must pivot your focus to the desired reality. Instead of focusing on the bill you can't pay, you pivot to the feeling of financial security. Instead of focusing on the pain, you pivot to the feeling of a vibrant, healthy body. This constant, disciplined act of pivoting is how you effectively change the total signal you are sending out. You are not ignoring reality. You are using the only tool you have, your present moment concentration, to choose a superior reality. This pivot is your freedom. It is the ultimate expression of the first principle we discussed. The point of power is always in the present. Your life is not defined by the events that happen to you. Your life is defined by what you choose to concentrate on in the aftermath of those events. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the manager of your focus, and the world you inhabit is simply the mirror reflecting that management. Commit to this single promise right now. For the next 30 days, you will become the unwavering guard of your focus. First, choose one area of your life, just one, like health or relationships, or finances, where you want to see the most significant change. Second, define your desired reality in that area with emotional clarity, using the present tense. Don't say, I will be successful. Say, I'm vibrant, deeply grateful, and my life is flowing with easy abundance. Third, dedicate 10 conscious minutes every day to focusing exclusively on the feeling of that new reality. Let your mind explore it. Let your emotions experience it, and let that concentration be the clearest signal you send all day. Finally, and most critically during the rest of the day, your only job is to practice the pivot. Whenever you fall back into the old concentration of fear or worry, simply pivot back to the clear signal you established that morning. Refuse to feed the doubt. Commit to this disciplined focus for 30 days. And watch what happens. The universe has no choice but to respond to the consistent high-powered signal of your concentration. Your new reality is waiting for your attention. Give it that focus, and you will get what you concentrate on. If you have stayed with us through this discussion on the power of focus, then you already know this channel is different. We don't deal in surface-level advice or simple motivation. We delve into the foundational laws of consciousness and the precise step-by-step mechanics of how you create your world. We give you the keys to the universe, and we expect you to use them. This channel, this community, is a space for people who are serious about waking up, people who recognize that your reality is not happening to you, it's happening through you. If you are tired of merely reacting to circumstances and you're ready to become the deliberate, conscious artist of your life, then you are in the exact right place. We are building a reality of absolute freedom, radical self-responsibility, and tangible, visible success. We provide the insight, the principles, and the application. Your job is to engage with the material and prove the power of your consciousness. Now it is time to take action. If you value this truth, if this information has sparked an insight or created a shift in your thinking, you need to anchor that intention right now. First, hit the like button on this video. That simple action sends a clear signal to your consciousness that you align with these powerful truths. Second, I want you to make a commitment. In the comments below, tell us, what is the single most important belief about reality you are choosing to focus on from this moment forward? Share your intention and let us witness your commitment. The third, and most importantly, you must subscribe. Don't just watch this work, integrate it. Tap the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss the next lesson in your education on reality creation. We have too much vital work to do together for you to rely on chance. Join the community. Lock in your commitment. It is time to stop dreaming and start creating. I'll see you in the next video.